channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about the 3 things that I wish I knew before I went to study abroad. So let's get started. The main reason that I'm making this video today is because a lot of students who are going to study abroad think that once they got admission at university, it's the end of the journey. You have spent so much time, money, energy, effort in applying and just doing the admissions process. Exams as SAT or GMAT, GREs, IELTS, there's so many things. You have all of your parts of your application, all of your parts of your scholarship and all of your essays. There's so many things that you prepare for before you get admission. And once you got admission to university and you get your offer letter and you get your visa, you're like, you know what, I'm set for life, this is perfect. But guess what? That's just stage 1. Stage 1 is getting admitted to your dream college or dream university or wherever you want to go to study abroad. That's just the first stage. The actual journey begins when you leave India. When you're on the flight, that's when you realize, oh no, what am I going to do now? And nobody talks about this. Nobody tells you what you're going to do once you reach there. Everybody talks about the before process. These are the counseling tips, these are the admission tips, these are the visa tips. Go to Canada, go to the US, go to the UK, go to Ireland, go to Australia. There's so many places to study. Okay, you got in. Now what? Now what do you do? What do you do once you got admission into university? What do you do once you're on the flight or you've landed in a new country? What then? That's where your actual journey begins. That's where you need the most help, the most guidance for you as a person leaving from India to go to study abroad. The very first thing that I wish I knew before I went to study abroad was that asking for help doesn't make you stupid. I had the toughest time asking for help. I was a student who always knew what was going on. I was on top of things, of my studies, extracurricular activities. School was a place that I was really myself. I knew what I was doing. I was on top of my studies. I was top of extracurricular activities. I was in clubs. I was in leadership roles. I was the head girl of the school. There are so many things that you do in school. And I was in India at home and there was a comfort zone that I had. I was never a student who didn't know something. So when I went abroad, it was something that really got to me because I didn't know that it was okay to ask for help. It's okay to go and tell somebody that you don't know how to write an essay. We're never taught that in school. How am I going to know that? It seems obvious now that of course I'm not going to know that. Of course the system is going to be different. But when you actually go there as a student, when there's so many things that are actually happening around you, you don't realize what is happening at the time. So you feel that everybody else knows things, everybody else has got it, everybody else on campus knows what they're doing except you, and you might feel that you're stupid, you're dumb, why are you even here? How could this be happening to you right now? Like you spend so much money, your parents have done so much just to send you abroad. So you feel very unnerved and uncomfortable in asking for help. The thing is, colleges know this, universities and colleges abroad know this, and they have lots of resources available on campus, a lot of them free of charge for students to avail of. You come back out of a lecture or a classroom and you're like, I don't know this subject. I don't know how they're teaching it. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what the exams look like. Because the exams are not just one midterm exam and one final exam that is 50% of your grade and it's a written exam. That's not how it works abroad. Abroad you have class participation, few assignments that you submit over the entire semester or course or module. You have certain group activities that you have to do. Sometimes you might be required to present in class, and all of these things apart from your actual sit-down exam contribute towards your grade. So I didn't know this and I felt stupid not knowing this. I felt that I should have known this. I should have known all of these things before going to study. I should have prepared myself better. I should have done all of these things better. Yes, there are a lot of things I should have done better to prepare, but it's not possible for me to know everything about everything in a new country when I'm going to study abroad for the first time. So it is totally okay for you to ask for help. Now, I don't only mean in academics, I mean in every department. It is okay for you to feel that you may not know something. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay for you to take help in certain subjects that you may not be comfortable with. I actually personally went and took an essay writing class after I realized, you know what, nobody is going to tell me to ask for help. Nobody is going to tell you, hey, you don't know something, these are the amazing resources available, please avail of them. Nobody is actually going to be that involved in your life. Your parents may not even know what is going on with you and what you need help with. If you do not go out there and ask your friends, ask your professors, ask your family for whatever help you need, financially, in terms of academics and studies, in terms of research methods, in terms of essay writing, in terms of networking, if you don't ask, nobody is going to give it to you. And that was a big thing that I wish someone told me before I went to study abroad, that you know what, there's going to be so many things that you may not know, and that's totally okay. Just ask for help whenever you can. Ask your professors for help. They are very, very helpful people on campus. Yes, of course, there will be a lot of people on campus who may not be helpful, whether it's roommates or friends or even professors and colleagues. Sometimes there are those people also who just don't want to help you out. But there are a lot of other people who do, and there are a lot of resources available on campus for you. There will be essay writing, there will be workshops, there will be webinars, there will be an international student center that will offer a lot of courses, and you can just go and ask them, hey, I'm struggling with this, I'm having a problem in maybe psychology class, I'm having a problem learning business, I'm having a problem networking, and they will tell you and give you options for doing exactly that. So when you are going to study abroad for the first time, please know that asking for help doesn't make you stupid. Asking for help doesn't mean that you're the stupidest person on campus or you're the dumbest person there. You put yourself down more than others are putting you down. You judge yourself more than others are judging you when you ask for help. So go and find these resources, ask people on campus. I really wish that I knew this before I went to study abroad. It is something that will really hold you back if you don't. You might end up failing in a class like I did. You might end up not making the friends that you want to. You might not be able to perform to your optimum just because you didn't ask maybe an answer to a particular question, or how an exam works, or what is the system going to look like. When you are going from India, the Indian system is very different. Just understanding the system itself as to how things are graded, what is counted, not counted, what do professors actually mean by certain words, what do they mean when they say class participation, what do they mean when they say they need you to give certain assignments or do group study, how do they evaluate it, how do they judge it. These are simple questions, but each professor, each country, each course has a different way of evaluating, and for you to be aware of this is very important. Otherwise, you will find it much, much harder than it actually is, and you'll find it much more difficult than it actually is. Don't be in your silo, don't be in isolation, don't think that you know it all. You actually don't, and when you realize that you don't know it all, ask. It's really not that big a thing to ask. No matter who you ask, how you ask it, ask online, ask in class, make your friends ask for you, but get the help that you need in whichever department. This is also very important for students who are struggling with mental health. People don't talk about it as much, but nowadays a lot of campuses have lots of workshops and lots of counselors on campus that you can actually go and speak to. If you're uncomfortable speaking to someone on campus, because you might feel judged, which is really not true, nobody is judging you, but if you feel so, there are a lot of online resources as well that you can take in the comfort of your room. You can read up on things. There are free resources, free webinars, free seminars where you can ask your questions also, free videos available online for you. So please seek out the help that you need. Ask for the help from your friends. Ask them to be understanding, especially with your professors. Most of them are very understanding. One of the stories that has really stuck to me throughout is that I used to be really bad in math, and in my first semester I failed my first exam in math, and I didn't know what was going on. I've never failed before. Why did I fail? Because I didn't understand the professor's accent. I didn't know what he was saying in class, and I was sitting there staring at the whiteboard, staring at him and trying to take a few notes, trying to copy from someone on the side. But the thing is, I just didn't ask, and then I actually failed my midterm exam, and then I thought that was the end of the world. But then when I went and told him that this is what is happening, I'm not understanding you, I cannot understand what you're teaching because your accent is so different. So he literally sat me down, he helped me out. I still couldn't understand a lot. And then I took math tutoring on this site, which is available on campus. I also asked another girl in class for help. She was very, very helpful. She told me exactly how to study. She gave me some of her notes. She told me this is what he's trying to say. And she gave me a bunch of resources that I could use. Now, I didn't know these resources were even there to be availed of. After these days, when I decided that, you know what, it's okay. I am going to ask for all the help that I need, because I'm the one who needs to get better. I'm the one who needs to feel better. I'm the one who needs to perform better, study better, and know that I can do well and I can graduate on time. The second thing that I wish I knew before going to study abroad was that things are going to be very, very uncomfortable. This is something that we don't really think about before going to study abroad. We assume that we are prepared. We assume that of course I'm going to be fine. Things are going to go great. Campus is going to be so exciting. There's so many things to look forward to. And we believe that we're prepared. Every time when we go, we believe that, okay, I am prepared to take on the challenges. I am prepared to go to a new country and study. But there are going to be so many different situations on campus where you are going to feel uncomfortable and you're going to be in unfamiliar territory. You're going to be surrounded by people you've never met before. You're going to be in classes you've never taken before. You're going to be learning subjects that you've never done before. So there are many, many uncomfortable situations. Sometimes you're not comfortable speaking in front of people, but you have to do it for your class. Whether we talk about culture shock, whether we talk about food, whether we talk about social situations, whether we talk about networking, people don't talk about these things before you go to study. I was so comfortable when I was in India. I had my family. Every day from school I would go back home. Things were taken care of here. You have friends, you have a whole social circle, you have family to take care of your food, your laundry. Everything is mostly taken care of in India. At home, you're very comfortable, you have your home, you have your space. Everything that you do abroad is going to be new. You're going to have a new dorm room which you'll have to set up, which is very, very exciting. It's all exciting stuff that you do. And then it's very fun to buy new things for your dorm, to buy all your study material, to get to meet new people, have all of these cool classes on campus. There's a lot to look forward to, and most campuses abroad are very, very beautiful. They're spread out. There's beautiful libraries, old buildings to look at. There are a lot of things that to look forward to while studying abroad. But all of that, what comes with the good side, also comes with you being uncomfortable. You will have a room and a space that you've never slept at before, you're never used to before. You're going to be put in situations. Somebody might confront your beliefs. Somebody might be discriminatory towards you. Somebody might be rude towards you, and you will not know how to react because you've never faced that situation. And you may really not know what to say to them. You will just be standing there wondering, what am I supposed to do? How do I react to this situation? So please know before going to study abroad that you are going to be uncomfortable. Now, most of our reaction is to withdraw, to close ourselves, and to not put ourselves back in a situation. For example, you might want to make a friend on campus. You both decide that, okay, you're going to meet at 5 p.m. at a coffee shop. That person doesn't show up. That person doesn't tell you why they didn't show up. They just don't show up. You're there waiting for them. What do you do in that situation? It's never happened to you before, because you would have either been at home, gone to your friend's place, or been with people who you know and you can call out on and say, hey, where are you? What's going on? What do you do with this person? They haven't responded, they haven't showed up, and they never show up, and they never even respond back to you and tell you why they didn't come. Maybe 5 hours later, once you're home, they'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry, I was really caught up, I forgot that we had to meet today. So what do you do in this situation? This is a very uncomfortable situation to be in. You don't know what to say. Do you say, hey, it's okay, no worries, everything's fine, when you actually do feel worried and everything is not fine? Or you want to call them out? How do you call them out? You're just trying to make friends. Is it a good thing to do this? Is it not? All of these questions are going to come in your mind and you will not know how to react. It is going to be very, very uncomfortable. Or another example, somebody wants your notes from class because they were partying all weekend, they didn't show up to class, they don't know what's going on, but they come knocking on your door and say, hey, I missed the class, can you just give me your notes to borrow please? I'll give it back in like half an hour. What do? You know that they were partying, you know that they didn't wake up to class, but you did. You put in the effort, you took the notes, you woke up, you went to class, you did all of the things that you had to do. Why should you give them the notes for free? But what do you do in that situation? What do you do if there's someone else in the room who's staring at your face, wondering what you're going to say next? How do you deal with this situation? Are you going to say no? A, how do you even say no if you want to say no? These are all uncomfortable situations that you're going to be put in, but just know this is normal. It happens to all of us. Sometimes you're going to say, yeah, sure, take my notes. Sometimes you're going to say, you know what, I'm sorry, you should have made it to class. I cannot give you my notes. It happens. Things happen on campus that are going to make you very, very uncomfortable. And I wish I knew this before going, because I would have tried to be better prepared. And nobody prepared me for the way my college life was at the College of William and Mary in Virginia in the US. No one prepared me for it. I had no idea what was happening. I had no idea where I was, what I was going to do, how the campus looks like, what's going to happen. It was my very first time on campus. I didn't know where the buildings were. I didn't know how to reach from my dorm to another room. And I didn't know anyone on campus. It is very, very unnerving once your parents leave you. Because even if your parents have come to drop you there, they're there for a few days. After that, what happens? After the first month, what happens? After all the excitement and the fun and the orientation week and getting to meet your people and all the shopping, all of that goes down, and after a month, then what happens? These are all uncomfortable and unnerving situations, and it's very difficult for people to process, especially when you're alone and you're going from India. You don't feel like calling your parents up. You may not feel like telling your friends in India that this is what is happening, because maybe they make fun of you, maybe they don't understand because they're not there. But these are all situations that happen, and I want you to know that it's okay, and these situations will happen. You'll get into lots of uncomfortable territory, but it will make you stronger, of course. But be prepared for this before you go to study abroad, and know that a lot of situations where you're going to feel uneasy, nervous, upset and angry and weird and uncomfortable and intimidated, and in all of these situations, just know that you need to be calm and take a step back and know you'll be fine. You'll be fine once you deal with that situation. But be prepared for being uncomfortable and challenged. Be prepared to be challenged of your beliefs. Be prepared to be challenged about everything that you say and do. Especially in the US where I was studying, people question your beliefs. They will question you about everything. Why did you do this? Why did you say this? What do you think about this? What's going to happen? And you will not know what you have to say to those situations, because you've never been taught that. You're never taught to speak up at home. You're never taught why you have to believe certain thing, why do you do certain things a certain way. But you're going to be questioned a lot, and you're going to be challenged a lot, and you're going to be uncomfortable a lot. So please be prepared for this before you go to study abroad. The third thing that I wish I knew before going to study abroad was how to manage money and finances. I have talked about this in my previous videos as well. No matter what background you come from, no matter if you have your parents paying for you for your full ride, or you have a scholarship, or you're going to work part-time on campus, whatever situation you are in, learning about money and understanding how to budget it is something that I really wish people taught me before I went to study abroad. Because when you reach there are so many little things regarding money and finances that hit you immediately. Even if your parents have the money to fund your entire education, your living expenses and everything else that come with it, even then, you are the one who's actually spending. You're the one who's going to spend on your phone plan. You have to decide which plan to take. You have to decide what you have to do with that money. Are you going to pay by card? Do you have a card to pay with? Are you going to pay by cash? Do you have the money to pay for it at that time? You will have to open a bank account there. Which bank do you go for? What policy? Which card? What are you going to do? That is one decision. Which phone are you going to buy? You have to buy the phone. You have to buy the phone plan. What plan? Which phone? How is it going to happen? You're spending the money. Even if your parents have put it in your bank account, you're the one spending it. And you're spending it like this for the very first time in your life. It is very challenging and very difficult, because what do we keep doing? We keep converting. Oh, this must be 500 rupees. This is 1000 rupees. Should I spend 1000 rupees on something? Should I spend 2000 rupees on something? Oh my god, this is so expensive. What do I do? And we do this everywhere. And it's a very common thing to do. All students do this, because when you go first, you don't know whether it's a $50 bedsheet fine or not fine. You spend 100 euros on a jacket for winter. All of these little decisions you're going to be taking, and you need to understand how money works, at least the basic level of money management, budgeting and financing. What is budgeting? Budgeting is understanding what money you have in the bank, how much money you're spending on each thing or going to spend on each thing, and if you can stick to that. For example, how much do you spend on going out with your friends? Some friends might be much richer than you and they may have much more money to spend. Some friends might not be as rich as you and may not want to spend on things. But But how do you decide as a person going from here how much you want to spend? If you're going to go out with friends for dinner, are you going to pay for only the dish that you had? Or if the bill is split equally amongst everyone, will you have the extra money to pay up at that time? Because at that time, the bill is being settled. You don't have the luxury to go and say, oh, I'll think about this later. You have to decide then and there. And for that, you need to have the money and you need to know, okay, if I spend $10 more today, that's fine. I won't get my Starbucks coffee for the next 3 days. I'll make coffee on my own and carry it in my mug. What do you actually essentially need for your dorm room? What essential supplies do you actually need? You need to make these lists beforehand. You don't make these lists at the shop, because then you end up buying super expensive, unnecessary things that you definitely do not need for campus. So making the list beforehand, your packing lists, your shopping list, your study material list, your dorm list. A lot of resources are available online for you to make an informed decision what to take, what to not take. How do you actually make these lists? What do you need? What do you not need? The essentials versus the non-essentials. Do you really need the $3 Starbucks coffee and muffin every morning or no? All of these little things will add up, and that's when you get hit by certain things that you would not plan for. The other thing is there are going to be breaks and trips. There might be a Thanksgiving break, there might be a Halloween break, there might be a semester end break, there might be Christmas break, there might be Easter break. There are so many different types of breaks that happen, and a lot of trips are planned around these breaks. You might want to plan a trip with your friends. You might want to have a class trip that is going somewhere together as a group. There are many opportunities on campus available for networking, for volunteering in different places, but you need to put up the money for all of this. And if you don't plan beforehand, you'll really miss out on very cool stuff and very cool trips that you might have really wanted to go to. And each trip has to be budgeted for and planned for beforehand. You need to understand what you need the money for and what you're going to be spending on. So this is one thing that I really wish I knew before I went to study abroad, was that money is going to be a very important thing that I should have learned about in the summer before I went to study abroad. I should have asked my parents for some help and guidance. I could have asked advisors. I could have asked some friends who are in campus but senior. I could have asked elder siblings or cousins how they manage certain things. But knowing that you need to do this is very important for you. Don't go there and make all the mistakes and spend this unnecessary money on things that you don't need. Have a situation where you're unwell and you need to buy medicines or go to a doctor and you don't have money to spend on those things. It is something that is completely avoidable. It's a situation that if you plan and prepare for, you will actually be good at. Spend that time on the weekends to just note down exactly what you spent on, how much money is going where. Because there are so many times that we're all caught in this situation that 2 weeks pass and we're like, oh my god, we spent $500. Where did $500 go in 2 weeks? It seems like so much money. But when you're spending at 10 here, 20 there, 30 there, 40 there, you don't know how fast the money goes. Understanding the basics of money and budgeting, planning for that is one of the things that I really wish I knew before I went to study abroad. The other thing is, if you've applied for scholarships or financial aid, there are certain deadlines that you definitely need to adhere to. You need to understand when the report or application is due, and you need to do it on the due date. Otherwise, there are consequences for your actions. If you miss a phone bill, if you miss your credit card bill, if you miss a payment on certain things, there are consequences to all of this, which you may not have ever faced when you were back in India, because your father, mother, guardian, someone took care of all of these things for you. When you're going there, you're the one who's responsible, you're the one who's liable. Nobody is going to blame your parents because you didn't pay your phone bill. They're going to come after you. And that's a bad thing if you want to live in the country and build your credit score in those countries. If you're not paying your credit card bills on time, if you're faltering on payments, if you're not paying your phone bill on time, if you've not adhered to the deadlines that the financial aid scholarship office has given you, or not submitted the reports on time, not paid your fees on time, or paid half of it and not done certain things. So many of these things that will happen that you are not prepared to handle. So please, before going to study abroad, don't make the mistake that I made. Understand what your money situation is, plan it out, even if it's a little bit of planning, even if you have a number in mind, keep that number, make an Excel sheet, and know that this is what you're going to be spending. Again, there are a lot of resources available on campus as well as online for you to understand what money management actually looks like and how you can do it being a college student. There's lots of help and there is a lot of guidance available to you. There are a lot of apps nowadays as well that help you in your budgeting and will tell you what you should spend on what and how much is generally required. Definitely keep a buffer, but at least you know a ballpark. You're not going in with $50 when something is actually worth $300. Or you're not planning a trip, you're going to spend only 200 pounds on this weekend trip, but actually the weekend trip ends up being 500 pounds. So you need to know how much money you have to spend on recreation, on studies, on books, on material, on clothing, on accessories, on cute stuff that you might just want to make yourself feel better, and food and going out and everything else. So have a rough idea of what you're going to spend on what, and please make a note of this before you go to study abroad. So guys, this is the video where I talked about the 3 things that I really wish I knew before I went to study abroad, and I really wish that I had taken the time out to understand, to prepare myself mentally for all of these things to happen. These are all the things that you need to understand if you're going to study abroad this year, or if you're already studying abroad and you don't know how to do certain things. Definitely check out my website www.ananya.com and follow me on Instagram at ananya.madhavan. That was the video for today. Please leave your comment in the comment box below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel for more videos and tips on studying abroad.